What's going on, guys? This is Tracy here, and today I'm bringing you week 3 of the PPL. So this week we'll be facing Chase Seabad. He's one of the bigger creators in the league this season. Make sure you go check him out in the description. He's got a couple of channels, but he does lots of different content like the Then We Battle stuff, as well as Draft League and VGC content as well. So make sure you go check him out. He's been around since Gen 6, I think even before then, been around Draft since Gen 6 for sure, and someone who'd been following for quite a while, so pretty cool to get the opportunity to finally play him in our return. A few things before we get into the team builder too much. First of all, microphone. Listen to that sultry audio quality. Yeah, we've upgraded, got a new mic, new headphones, Switch 2 arriving soon as well, so we'll be able to run Scarlet and Violet on the Switch 2 and get that lovely video quality up. But also you should be able to hear my voice a lot better now, rather than using a crappy headset I was kind of borrowing from work. So yeah, other thing is with the team, I made a couple of transactions. You can see the matchup below me here. I realized I was bringing the same 6 to the first 3 games, and I never really strongly considered any of the other options that I had other than Pineco, which tells you a lot. Torkoal, I feel like always had a bad matchup, just didn't feel like I could bring it without losing a ton of momentum. And Venusaur was kind of useless in a lot of matchups without Torkoal. I know it can do work defensively, but on my team, the grass type kind of needed to be a ground resist rather than a grass poison type, which made it neutral to ground. So that wasn't really fulfilling the role that I needed from a defensive grass type, and then offensively it just never quite had the matchup that I needed it to. And similarly, Espeon, I wanted to do like Shell Smash copycat shenanigans, or like set up sweeper threats, but it never really did that quite as well as like Iron Thorns, for example, which is also taking up that Terra slot. So I decided to drop all 3 of those mons and pick up, first of all, Quaquaval. So this is something that Chase originally had on his team, and then he swapped that out and picked up the Hisuian Samurott after someone else dropped Hisuian Samurott. So that kind of worked out okay for us. I wasn't sure on Quaquaval because it has Quaquaval, I don't know how people pronounce it. And we have type double ups then with fighting types and water types, but they're not the worst types to have multiples of. And it gives me a much better spinner and a mon that can just kind of set up and win on its own sometimes, if people don't prep for it appropriately. Then we also picked up Ninetales to replace Torkoal and give us the Sun. Again, the Sun I don't think is essential for this team, but Ninetales I really enjoyed using it in PPL NX. It gives you Baton Pass and Healing Wish, which are both things that I was considering getting anyway. And then that left us with 2 points left over, and we picked up Terra Leavanny. Leavanny fulfills that chlorophyll role that we're looking for, also gives us sticky webs, which we can optimize really well with Golden Go as a spin blocker. And with the Terra as well, it can, Terra Fire, Terra Blast in the sun and do lots of damage that way. I feel like it actually has a slightly easier way than Venusaur to break things, because we can afford to give it access to that Terra, whereas I couldn't give Venusaur access to Terra without making Iron Thorns not a Terra Captain, and I've really liked using Iron Thorns as a Terra Captain, so I didn't want to do that. So that's the changes we've made so far. We'll see if we make any more changes throughout the rest of the season, but kind of going 0-3 didn't feel great, and I figure when things aren't going your way, it's your responsibility to change something about what's happening, and one of the only things I could change is the team. The other thing I've changed this week is my prep. Normally I do kind of this really staged prep. I build a team for myself, build a team for the opponent, build out what sets I think they might bring on a lot of different mons, and just kind of scout out their movesets, things like that, and then try and counter team that with what I have, and then do a whole bunch of what I call self-mocks, so I'm basically running games with different sets they could bring and the sets that I bring and trying to optimize for every possible decision. I think that's actually made my play really bad because I'm always playing games with full knowledge of both sides, and then when you get into an actual game you don't have full knowledge of both sides, and so I've thrown away the last couple of games by assuming that my opponent had something which they then didn't have. For example, in the last game against JV, assuming that they had Dragon Pulse over Draco Meteor, because that's what I would have run, whereas if I had stayed in with the Landorus and taken the Draco, I would have died, but then Roaring Moon would have taken one and would have two-shot it afterwards. With Ellie, assuming that the Greninja had low kick when it didn't, so I should have DD'd up on it, and with Gunk. The Gunk was more just all around getting outplayed, but the like assuming it was Scarf Moxie on Gyarados rather than acknowledging that it could just be Dragon Dance, and we'd actually on-court it, so of course it was going for the same move repeatedly. So this week I'm just building a team off the first instinct that I have, optimizing EV spreads a little bit and running from there. So I'm going to trim it down a lot more. I'm spending too much time on this, and see if I can just trust my instincts and do a bit better that way. So with that in mind, the first mon I put on the team is this Roaring Moon. It has a really good matchup into Chase's team. We can run Choice Band with like Outrage and Iron Head because there's an Enamorous, so you need to be a little bit careful when you click Iron Head, but other than that, his switch in is going to be the Alamomola. Just every time into this thing, his switch in is Alamomola, so we can knock it off, get rid of what I'm expecting to be an AV or Boots, try and preserve its longevity, or we can just click U-turn and get momentum on it and go into one of our things that can threaten that Alamomola a little bit more. And then late game, we are running the investment that gives us speed booster. I thought about running like a bunch of speed creep with this, but then it just wasn't quite hitting hard enough, so I've got the maximum possible attack investment you can have while having speed, and that's because we are going to bring the Sun this week for the first time this season. Next up, we have a Primarina with Moonblast, Weather Ball, Psychic Noise, and Energy Ball, with Liquid Voice, so that Psychic Noise is a water type move. This is pretty much perfect coverage. I think it is actually perfect coverage into Chase's team outside of Terra options on the Alamomola and Hydrapple. I guess we don't hit the Grafaiai super effectively, but we do nuke it with a Liquid Voice Psychic Noise anyway. This thing gets to kind of just click Moonblast in most situations. As I said, AV Alamomola can be a good check to this if it has like full Spidef investment, but it can't do a lot back without like Mirror Coat. And Energy Ball should still be a 3-hit KO, so we can really, if we can just keep that thing low, that's kind of the game plan with a regenerated core. You can't rely on like little bits of chips. You've got to kind of hit them for a decent chunk and then pressure them so they can't just keep pivoting out as much as they want. We have enough investment to live a Banded Earthquake from a Mamoswine because this is my dedicated lead for the week, and if he leads Banded Mamo, we will Oko back with Psychic Noise because Mamoswine can be a bit of a problem for this team. And then other than that, just AV to help take hits from like Dragapult, Enamorous. Yeah, that's basically it. Maybe Hydrapple, I guess, depending on what we're predicting. Next up is Landorus, so running Sheer Force Life Orb with a modest nature, just going full offensive with Substitute. The idea behind this is with Lando, I've been kind of struggling most games with getting the prediction right. Substitute basically gives me a turn to scout out the opponent if they're going to Terra or if they're going to switch, and then I'm safe behind a sub and I can go for the more damaging move. Obviously, Dragapult could be running Infiltrator, but I think it'll probably run Clear Body because I have the potential of bringing webs, and also you're not switching in Dragapult on a Landorus, unless it's like late game, in which case I'm clicking Earth Power, most likely anyway. Whereas with a sub, we can bring this in on something like a Choice Locked Mamoswine, and then we can sub up, see what he wants to go into. Something like AV Sizzle can take this on reasonably well, and so we've got that Weather Ball there, so that when the sun is up, we will just annihilate that as well. And then Earth Power Sludge Wave hits basically everything else as powerfully as it needs to be hit. And if any of his two regen mons Terra into any type, the worst we have is neutral coverage move into them. Like if they Terra into a type that resists ground, they hit super effectively by poison, or at least neutrally by poison, right? So they can't resist both with a single type. So that's really handy to try and break through those two, and they're both weaker on the special side as well, so we should be able to nuke them pretty hard. Next up, I've been alluding to it this whole time, we have one of our new mons, Provider, the Ninetales. New song from Sleep Token, check it out, it's very horny. The thing I love with Ninetales as a Sunsetter so much more is Healing Wish and Baton Pass. Those are two moves I'm probably almost always going to bring on Ninetales, unless I'm going like Specs. And even then, Specs Healing Wish works. This gives you free momentum into your Sun Sweepers, so I can bring this in on something like the Almamola or the Hisuian Samurott, force it out, go for Baton Pass, and then get into my Roaring Moon much more safely on a switch. And then with Speed Booster Roaring Moon, we should be outspeeding his entire team outside of Scarf Dragapult, and if it's Scarf Dragapult, it hits way less hard, and it should be pretty easy to handle that way with just fat bulk. And then Healing Wish means I can do it twice. I can Healing Wish something back up after it's taken some chip. I can afford to be a little bit risky and like live a hit with something to get a big hit off on one of the regen mons or something like that. And then Weather Ball and Solar Beam is just fantastic coverage. We've gone for more bulky investment to try and keep this thing around a little bit longer with a bit of speed to still speed creep like the Hammerot and the Mamoswine, because those things could be a problem, so we want as many things to be able to revenge them with like Okos as possible. And then this is reasonable coverage into his regen core as well. Obviously Hydrapple can kind of take a hit, but Weather Ball still hurts. Next up we have the primary Sun Sleeper for this week, and we are bringing Chlorophyll Leavanny. With Terra Blast, Leaf Blade, and Triple Axle, this thing actually kind of Okos everything on Chase's team. I mean, it won't Oko a Fizdef Alamomola, but it'll go close, and that's it. I mean, it'll do like 60%, and that's if it's fully physically defensive. And that means if we've got a Swords Dance up, then we just Oko everything. We have enough speed to outspeed a Scarf Dragapult in the sun. That's a Scarf Dragapult that's speed creeping my Roaring Moon, I think. I couldn't get a max speed Scarf Dragapult without going Jolly, and I wanted the power of Adamant, so we've gone for that speed creep instead. This thing is really simple. Basically, if I can bring in the Ninetales, I can Baton Pass out. I can kill a few mons with this thing until the sun runs out, or, you know, Leaf Blade the Alamomola, take a hit, Leaf Blade again to 2 KO, and even if he pivots around and tries to get like Life Orb chip, that's what Healing Wish is really great for. We can then run it back, go again, and just clean up everything with Chlorophyll. Obviously the main issue being like if Alamomola Terras into something like Terra Fairy, or Terra Electric, which I think Solid brings into my team, then Terra Blast Fire in the sun still actually does quite a lot. Last up we have Golden Go, a mon I really don't feel like I've been doing justice, but that is truly excellent, just not how I've been using it. So running 3 attacks for cover. Thunderbolt is primarily for a middle ground play on like Enamorus or Alamomola, and also to hit the Hisuian Samurott, which otherwise resists our dual stabs. But it does also give me something good to chunk those mons with if I don't want to click Make It Rain and lose my special attack, and obviously Alamomola is the hardest hitting move we can go for. And then Recover to kind of keep it a little bit healthy, because we are running that Cassib Berry, which means even if he brings like modest specs Dragapult, it'll do like half, a little bit over half, and we should be able to Oko back with a Shadow Ball. Or at least do a lot of damage back, because we do have a lot of investment even though we are timid. We are speed creeping that Mamoswine as well, so just because it is such a massive issue and it could be running a lot of speed, I think I'm either creeping max speed or I'm creeping a Mamo that's creeping Iron Thorns, but I can't remember which one I ended up going for. Maybe we're just max speed. But yeah, that's going to be it. So when I cut back, I will be in the battle against Chase. Okay, we are here with the battle against Chase Seabad. Brought mostly what we expected. I wasn't fully expecting the Grafai because we do have Golden Go, which kind of stops it from doing any of its prankster shenanigans, and walls its dual stabs. So that's a bit interesting. Also, wasn't fully expecting the Hammerot. I mean, you can always just click Ceaseless and get spikes, so there's that. But yeah, game plan. Lead with the Prim, get off some big hits, see if Leavanny can chunk through things and clean up with Moon. He's also told us he is Terra Fairy on Alamomola and Terra Water on the Hydrapple, so those are good to know, see if we can proc those. He's out Tide Reaver, he sends out the Hammerot, so this is good for us. I don't think I have any reason not to click Moonblast right here. Yeah, we are Liquid Voice, that Psychic Noise. It just shows up as Psychic type, so because I don't think this is going to do much to us. Yeah, I'm down to Moonblast. He just goes to Ceaseless. Doesn't do much. So what do you... Sash? Sash lead? Yeah, cool. So he's gonna get a second layer of spikes here. Big special attack drop. Game changing. 276. Not sure it really matters. I mean, this is probably just going to be... Let's go to Ceaseless again. Yeah, that looks just like max attack Jolly, probably. So he's just going to get his spikes up, so that's fair. We didn't bring the Quack, so we don't have any spinner, so 2 layers of spikes. Now, Mamoswine. How do we deal with a Mamoswine? Because I imagine that's what comes in here. Yeah, that sounds like a Mamoswine, doesn't it? So we don't have a switch in for this at all. Like, at all. EQ, even unboosted Jolly, will kill this Prim from where we're at. But an Icicle Crash wouldn't. The question is, does he predict the Lando? I think we go Lando and then double out into gold is my way through this. Yeah, because Icicle Crash wouldn't have killed the Prim, so I think he does go for the Earthquake. Cool. And now we're going to scout and see if you're choiced and go into gold and go. So we switch first, so if he switches out, we know he's not scarfed. Okay. Not scarfed, but maybe banded. Let's go into stupid fish. Now this thing will not Terra right here. There's absolutely no way. I think there's no point switching out, because you can just get the slow flip turn. I'm going to go for the T-Bolt just to scout the damage. So expecting this to be AV. Yeah, that looks like AV. And he just flip turns, gets all that right back. Yeah, it's 100% the Solfest. Goes into this thing. We outspeed you. And a make it range should Oko, unless you're Babiri Berry or Sash. Do I need this particularly for anything else? Not really. I mean, it's good for the Grafii, but it's a Grafii. Yeah, so we outspeed, and we just Oko Mamo. Nice. Okay. So I'm assuming his calc made it look like we were maybe Specs, or he was expecting Scarf or something there, or he just forgot speed tiers. So that's pretty good for us, because Mamo was a big threat. So we are at -1 now, so I'll put that into my calc. Would not be surprised to see the Dragapult. So at -1, we don't kill with Shadow Ball, is the thing. We will take like a Specs Shadow Ball ourselves, I think, with the Kasib. And the thing is, Prim doesn't. So I think I take my... Do I take my damage? I Oko this with most things. Do I have another switch into a Shadow Ball? At all? I mean, Moon, but that's so risky, because he can... If he's not Specs, then he outspeeds. Maybe Ninetales? Ninetales won't take 2 Shadow Balls after 2 layers of spikes. So I think we burn the Kasib here and just get our damage. And maybe we crit. He just U-turns. So he gets a little bit more chip. That did like 10, so I doubt we can tell anything from that. Like 10 damage total. So it looks like it's just going to be modest. If I had to guess... Yeah, it looks like modest Dragapult. Or minus attack nature, no attack investment. Okay, I mean this thing flip turns for free momentum. At -1 we do 0 to it. Yeah, like literally 0. After recovery. The question is what I want to be in with. I might recover. Just get some health back. Easy to split turns. That's 63. That does more than... Oh no, that is just 0 attack. Cool. This does more. I guess stab. Rot Core is going to be the Hydrapple. Now, you're probably clicking Earth Power. So I think I'm going to go back into the Landorus here. This could be a bad play. This goes for Fickle Beam. So that looks like it's not offensive. Looks like it's probably quite defensive, in fact. Could be another Assault Vest. Come on. Let's go like gentle or whatever. So you can Terra Water to take this Sludge Wave better. I'm gonna sub to Scout for the Terra or the Switch. Okay, it does switch out to Lifebinder. These are cool names. Alamomola, OU Assault Vest. A flip turn will break our sub. But we can get some good damage onto this thing with Earth Power now. Should do about half, a little bit less. And then he's just gonna fucking flip turn out. This Aloe, man. I hate Alamomola. Crit doesn't matter, we didn't have bulk investment to take that. Thought about running that. Thought about running a really bulky Lando, but then the speed was more valuable. So the question is, how do I break Aloe? Given its AV, I just gotta break everything else. Basically. Goes out into Dragapult. No, I reckon you're probably Specs. And a Shadow Ball will kill us. So I'm just going to click Earth Power. Let this thing go down. He goes for Draco, that's fine. So now, if we were DD Moon right here, this would be a fantastic opportunity. Because even with Specs at -2, you don't kill. Oh, you would after Spikes. There's a chance to go after Spikes. But I think we just go Prim here. How much does Prim do to the Alamomola? Probably not enough with Energy Ball. But there's no way you're staying in. Absolutely no way. So, gonna go for the Energy Ball. Once we get Sun up though, we just need this thing chunked. Don't even need it chunked that much. It's like down to half. So it looks like max HP, max Spadef AV. So I'm going to go for it again. He can flip turn out, but we'll bring this thing lower than it's been. So it'll be at like 66% when it switches out. Still no Terra. Good damage, but Miracle. Okay, that's actually fine because this thing is low. I kind of thought Miracle could come, but that was worth using the Primarina for. And the Dragapult KOs. Landos. Next. Question mark. So I think I'm going to go into the Ninetales here. The thing is, Solar Beam won't kill from where it's at, but it can't really do a ton to us either. And we get the Sun up. Solar Beam might kill from where it's at. So the question is, do we want to try and get momentum on the Hydro Apple coming in? I can't believe there's no bulky Hydra on the Showdown calcs. He needs this thing for Dragapult. For Moon, I mean. So I think you have to switch out here. Cool. Cool. Show me the Hydra. Perfecto. Cool. So we go leave Vanny. We should leave any one hit, even a Fickle Beam, unless it goes all out. So I think now is the time for the leave Vanny. Now, do I need to SD? I don't think I do. I think I just click Axel. We bait the Terra, but we at least get some damage off. He shouldn't kill us, and then we should be able to KO the following turn. Because you're Terra Fairy. He does Terra. Oh, this actually won't kill. I'm just throwing away a Leavanny. Oh, he's Terra Water. Silly. Yeah, the Aloe's Terra Fairy. Okay, so it's now Water type. So Aloe can't Terra. That's fine. Big crit on the first one. I do get all 3 hits, so that's nice. Probably should have SD'd. Oh, and Draco does just take us out. So he's got Draco and Fickle Beam. Question is, does anything take an Outrage from Moon at this point? This thing takes an Outrage from Moon at this point. God damn. Struggling to break the regen core here. So if I go Golden Go, I can chunk it down at least. I'm gonna go Moon, so I can always Healing Wish back into it. So what are you at? You're at like 76, so there's no way this kills. So I'm going to click U-turn to put you in range of another one. Golden Go might have this actually. If we take a hit from the Dragapult, he just goes for Draco. He's down to 151. So you switch out here every time. So I'm going to recover. Problem is it's at 60, so it'll be back up. I should have gone set up to break the regen core, man. Thought about sub lefties on the moon, or nasty plot on this, but such is life. He's seen my whole moveset at this point. It stays in. You're at -4. He goes for Earth Power, that does nothing. I mean, not nothing, but not a lot. So here I think I just Thunderbolt. Now he switches. We're going into the Dragapult. That did like 25%. I don't think this thing can take any chip yet. So max roll of Shadow Ball does 210 from Timid specs. What if you are modest? Max roll does 229. So I think we stay in and click Shadow Ball here. Goes Flamethrower. That's a good shout. Brought Flamethrower in the sun. That's solid. Alright. We're gonna go into Moon here. Damn, because Golden Go potentially just won. How many turns of Sun do we have? We have 2 more turns of Sun. So I think we lock into Outrage here. We should 2-shot everything. So now we need the 2-turn. If we get the 3-turn, then we just lose. Maybe let's see, switches out the Hydra. Did he just sack Dragapult? My brother in Christ, did you just sack Dragapult? Okay. Okay. Didn't expect that. Gotta be honest. Now there's no Sun Up. He goes into the Aloe. If you're max HP, max special defense, you're at exactly 60%. Thing is, do I risk the confusion? We should live an alluring voice, so I think I risk the confusion here. Nice, we hit through. This should KO. Nice. Now we've got a water type Hydrapple and a Grafaiai to go. In comes the Hydrapple. So this is probably at the range where it'll live. He switches out. Sacks the Grafaiai. Okay, we snap out. Can we get the 3-turn here? Actually, do we want the 3-turn or the 2-turn? It doesn't matter, I don't think. I think we want the 3-turn. Ah. Okay, so Hydrapple will live one. Is the thing. So if you're like Assault Vest, so you can just go for Fickle Beam. And then how much does Ninetales do with Solar Beam? So if he's defensive with Assault Vest, I don't think we can clutch this out. Because surely Fickle Beam won't kill, so he does. It might kill. Yeah, it should kill actually. YOLO. We hit these. We crit these. Okay, we don't hit ourselves in confusion, which is nice. We do a good chunk. He goes all out. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't sack Ninetales there, because Outrage is never killing. So now it's down to, are you AV, and do you take a Solar Beam? Looks close. I don't have any better play. So if he's no Spadef AV max HP, this will kill. Oh, that was so close. That had to be a roll. That had to be a roll. Oh, we lived. Oh my god. Oh my god, we lived. Oh my god, we lived. Oh my god, I did not expect to live that. I did not expect to live that. Ninetales, you goat. GG. I can't believe we lived Draco. I was not expecting to live Draco. I forgot that we actually have a good amount of Spadef investment and that Ninetales is pretty bulky. GG's. Oh my god, we got our first win. It was not in the cleanest of fashions, but we got there. Breaking that regen core is just so hard, and I got really lucky with the confusion. Although I did only get 2-turn outrages, and I think each time 3-turn would have. I don't know. I'm not really thinking straight, but I'm glad we got a win off our chest at least, even if it was close and somewhat unexpected. But GG's to Chase. Man, I want to use Hydrapple at some point. I want to use Aloe, but I would love to use like Hydrapple Slowking combo. Would be sick. But yeah, GG to Chase. Hope you guys enjoy the upgraded video quality. Next week we'll be on the Switch 2. So I did actually pick it up this morning, but it was still updating by the time this battle came around, so wasn't able to play this battle on it. But next week we'll have Switch 2, we'll have a new mic, we'll be like an actual content creator. So GG's to Chase. 1 and 3 for the season. We're finally offline. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week.